The Ford government proposed the More Homes Built Faster Act to address Ontario's housing crisis, aka Bill 23. The goal is to build 1.5 million more homes over the next 10 years. How are they going to do that? What are some of the challenges that they have to overcome? Do you think that this is going to make housing affordable again? The housing crisis is a Canada-wide problem with many elements at play, like interest rate increases, inflation, cost of materials going up, labor shortages, bureaucratic red tape, developmental charges, and conservation restrictions. We still have increasing immigration on top of all of that, all adding to the crisis. Welcome to the channel. I'm Stephen Ho, a realtor in Mississauga since 2010. My aim here is to educate, inform, and spot out opportunities in the market for you so you can make the best real estate decisions for you and your family. This bill plans to address the housing crisis through 5 approaches: approvals, intensification, affordable housing, deterrent tax, and reducing development fees. Their goal is to reform these processes and procedures in the provincial and municipal level to ensure all Ontarians have a housing option that meets their needs and budgets. Let's get into it. Approvals. The bureaucratic red tape around development is really pushing the cost up for home buyers. The more delays there are in a project, the more costs the developer incurs, and then they pass on those costs to new buyers. The Ontario Land Tribunal is where they process all these applications. They want to speed up the approval process. The approval process in Canada is one of the longest in the world. One of these are the NIMBYs, which is the not in my backyards. People that want to create barriers because they don't want more development in their area. They're used to how their neighborhood is. They don't want more people moving into the area. The next thing is the heritage and conservation authorities. There's over 36 different conservation authorities in Ontario. They want to streamline them all into one to have more regulated mandates to help reduce flooding risk and also to ensure that people and property are protected from the elements and impacts of natural hazards. But the challenge is it takes time to assess, comply, as well as enforce to make sure all of these projects are coming to market safely. They want to speed things up with housing proposals while maintaining permits for building and fire codes. The question is, are they jeopardizing safety for production? They want to pass the responsibilities of policies and approvals to lower tier local municipalities. Ontario has asked 29 municipalities to increase their targets of municipal land use for development of infrastructure like water, roads, and schools. Intensification. They want to promote more building around transit areas because they want to limit urban sprawl, which I think makes sense because the more we sprawl further out, the more infrastructure is required, like more roads, more schools, affecting more conservation areas or wetlands. So intensifying is the way to go. Maybe more condos around transit systems so that people can have access to public transit. The next thing is they want to reform the zoning bylaws to create more gentle density. This is where you may have heard that they want people to build up to 3 units for each plot of land. The opportunity here is for homeowners to build up to 3 units. So if you have a basement apartment, you can rent it out to a student or a young professional to supplement some of the expenses you might have. Or if you want to build a garden suite or a laneway home for your aging parents so you can be close to take care of them. So that's another opportunity that I can see going forward that can help homeowners or future homeowners. So future purchasers, do you think that this is something that you can benefit from, or you can see yourself looking for something that has additional units or potential to add additional units? Comment below, let me know what you think. If you want to know how you can take advantage of this, book a free call with me in the link below. The next thing is affordable housing. Building more affordable housing options is probably the most important thing we need to do. They didn't come up with the details yet, but I think they need to build more co-op or non-market or not-for-profit or public housing options that is more affordable. By releasing more units to the market, that's going to increased supply and more options so that the private sector have to compete against these lower priced rents and housing options. They're also offering tax incentives to build more affordable housing options by giving out developmental fee reductions or even discounts to those charges. I'd like to see for every large-scale proposed project that requires developers to build a percentage of affordable housing options. Stay to the end, I'll share with you what I think we need to do to solve the housing crisis. The next thing is deterrent tax. We already know about the non-resident speculation tax that was at 20%, now we're at 25%. They also want to introduce the vacant home tax. They want to incentivize efficient use of vacant homes. They want these homeowners to either sell or rent out their home if they're not living in it. Now this becomes a little tricky because the landlord and tenant board heavily favors the tenants. All the rules and laws really protect the tenants and doesn't really incentivize vacant homeowners to rent it out. People keep them vacant because they don't want to rent it out and expose themselves to the risk of thousands and thousands of dollars if they get a bad tenant. In theory, this makes sense to try and get people to release unused housing to the market. But how are they going to determine about people's cottages or secondary homes? How are they going to determine that? How are they going to enforce that? The next thing is reducing construction fees and costs. They want to freeze, discount, and reduce government charges on new home construction. The challenge is municipalities use these development charges to fund their infrastructure like transit, roads, schools, water, parks, and so on. They've been using this growth pays for growth model, which new construction pays for the new additional infrastructure that's being added. But now they want to switch over to the taxpayers fund the development. If they reduce the charges for new development, then the taxpayers are going to have to pay for these new improvements to the city. But giving these discounts to the developers, do you think that they're going to pass on the savings to buyers? Or do you think that developers are going to just have a bigger paycheck and have a bigger profit? Let me know in the comments below. The proposed legislative changes are part of the government's long-term plan to build 1.5 million homes in Ontario over the next 10 years. Some of the key changes in Bill 23, if passed, is going to have an immediate impact for developers and homeowners. Stay tuned for daily real estate updates. Follow us on Instagram at Mr_Sauga. Is this going to solve the housing crisis? I'm not sure, but I think it's a good start. Do you think that they're going to build that 1.5 million homes over the next 10 years? I personally highly doubt that. With the shortage of labor, even if we remove all the bureaucratic red tape, we still don't have the manpower to build these homes. The housing crisis is a supply and demand issue. It's interconnected. There's a lot of factors at play. And by providing more housing options, that's going to make it affordable for everyone. Right now, there's no affordable housing options. And if there's no choice, people bid up the prices. And that's why we have the housing crisis to begin with. We're bringing over 500,000 immigrants every single year. Where are they going to live? If we don't build enough homes, doesn't matter if we have affordable housing or not. If we don't have housing options, the prices are going to be bidding up. Bill 23 is a good start, but if they don't address the affordability options and they just keep passing on savings to developers, and the cost of building the infrastructure is then passed on to the taxpayers, I'm not sure if developers are going to take that savings and pass it on to the buyers. Most developers are not doing this for charity. When we're leaving the housing supply to be addressed by the private sector, they're going to address their own bottom line. Most of them probably aren't going to make things cheaper or more affordable for the end user. Without a focus on building more affordable housing options like co-ops or public housing or non-profit housing options, the housing crisis is here to stay. NIMBYs want to protect their way of life. The not in my backyards, you're part of the problem. Living in your neighborhood because maybe it's quiet or it's open, it's not busy. But now with all the proposed changes, we need more housing options. And if we don't build more housing options, the affordable housing crisis is here to stay. What are your thoughts on the bill? Do you think that we can build 1.5 million homes over the next 10 years? Do you think that's even enough? Comment below. Let me know what you think and if there's any challenges or shortfalls that you can see in this bill. Thanks for watching. You can check out our other videos here. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.